You know that feeling, that specific, uncomfortable feeling when there is absolutely nothing to do. Your hands feel restless. Your mind starts jumping from thought to thought. You pick up your phone, put it down, pick it up again. You open an app you just closed 30 seconds ago. You stare at the ceiling. You feel almost irritated, like something is wrong. That feeling has a name: boredom. And right now, in the modern world, you can kill it in 3 seconds. A tap, a scroll, a click, and it's gone. But here's the thing nobody ever asks. What happened to that feeling before the tap existed, before the screen, before the book, before music you could play on demand, before literally any form of entertainment existed at all? What did a human brain do when it was bored and there was nothing? Not for an afternoon, not for a weekend without Wi-Fi, but every single day, for their entire life. Because here is the truth that changes everything. Ancient humans didn't have a few hours of free time. They had enormous amounts of it. The hunt took maybe 4 hours, gathering food a few more, and then the rest of the day, silence, stillness, a brain with 86 billion neurons all firing at once, desperate for something, and absolutely nothing to give it. So what happened? Because whatever they did in that silence built everything. Every piece of art ever made, every story ever told, every song ever written, every civilization that ever existed, all of it came out of boredom. And by the end of this video, you will never look at that feeling the same way again. This video is about what ancient humans did when there was nothing left to do. We're going to uncover 4 things that happened inside the human mind when it had no choice but to face the silence. And what we find will completely change how you understand creativity, culture, and what it means to be a human being. Let's go back 100,000 years. The sun is setting. Your tribe has eaten. The fire is burning low. And now there is nothing to do. No task, no threat, no purpose. Now, modern people think of this as rest. Neuroscientists who study boredom describe it not as emptiness, but as a demand, a signal your brain sends, as urgent as hunger, as uncomfortable as pain. Boredom doesn't stop. It gets louder. It pushes. It aches. It forces the mind to move, to search, to create something out of absolutely nothing, because the brain cannot accept emptiness. It was never designed to. And 100,000 years ago, with no way to silence it, ancient humans had only one option. They had to go inward. In 1991, high in the mountains of the Alps, a hiker stumbled across something frozen in the ice. A man, 5,300 years old, perfectly preserved. His name would become Otzi the Iceman. And among everything researchers found on him, his tools, his food, his weapons, they found something unexpected. Tattoos, 61 of them, carefully placed, deliberately made, not for anyone else to see. Most of them were in places people wouldn't normally look. He made them for himself, because he needed to, because a restless human mind, given time and nothing else, always reaches for expression. In Blombos cave in South Africa, researchers discovered geometric patterns carved into rock, 77,000 years old. Not maps, not instructions, not survival information, just patterns, made carefully, made beautifully. In Indonesia, cave paintings dating back 45,000 years, showing animals drawn with perspective, with movement, with a skill that made modern artists stop and stare in silence, made in the quiet hours. All of it born from boredom. Something else happened around those ancient fires, something quieter, but far more powerful. People started talking, not about practical things, about the stars and what they meant, about the strange dream someone had last night, about the ancestor who walked before them and the things they did and why those things still mattered. They asked questions that had no answers. Why does the sun rise every morning? Where do people go when they die? And in asking those questions, in sitting together with nothing to do, they invented storytelling, not just as entertainment, but as survival technology. The story of which river floods in summer, told as myth, saved lives. Stories weren't just things to do when bored, they were the internet of the ancient world. The library, the school, started with someone sitting in the silence with nothing else to do and opening their mouth. Here is the part that makes you stop and reconsider everything. The oldest musical instrument ever found is a flute, made from a vulture bone, found in Germany, 40,000 years old. Someone picked up a bone, had nothing to do, and wondered, what sound would this make? They didn't need music to survive. There was no practical reason to spend hours carving holes into a bone with primitive tools. It served no survival purpose, but they did it anyway. And that one idle afternoon, that one restless mind started music. People who are bored consistently score higher on creativity tests than people who are engaged and busy, because boredom forces the brain into something called the default mode network, a state where your mind stops reacting and starts generating, making new connections, asking new questions, imagining things that don't exist yet. This is the state where every human invention ever created began, not in a lab, not at a desk, not in a meeting, in a quiet moment with nothing to do. You, watching this on a screen, in a world designed to make sure you are never bored for a single second. mind, and I want you to think about what that means, because that uncomfortable feeling, that restless ache when there is nothing to do, is not a malfunction. It is the exact same signal that made someone press pigment into a cave wall 77,000 years ago, the same signal that made someone pick up a bone and invent music. Every single thing that makes human beings different from every other creature on this planet came from that feeling, came from the silence, came from the restlessness, came from boredom, and now, for the first time in human history, we have completely eliminated it. We have built a world where you never have to feel that ache for even a moment. In silencing the discomfort, we are also silencing whatever was about to come from it. The next time boredom finds you, don't reach for the phone. Not immediately. It is your brain asking you to make something, and it has been asking for 100,000 years.